MBA Show, the business podcast that packs a punch to knock your business into place with our daily 10-minute business lessons for the real world. I'm your host, your coach, your teacher, Omar Zenhom. I'm also the co-founder of the $100 MBA, a complete business training and community online. Check out our free course on idea validation. Make sure you're nailing your business idea. It's completely free. All you got to do is go to 100mba.net/free-course. In today's lesson, you will learn 4 tips to be a better teacher in your business. As we know, teaching is the new marketing. If you can show how your products are relevant, how your products can add value to people's lives, how you can use your products best, then that immediately builds credibility and trust with your audience, which means sales. We buy from who we trust. And in today's lesson, I want to give you my 4 top tips to becoming a better teacher in your business, whether you're writing in a blog, you're on a podcast, you're in an interview, a video, on your sales page. The better you can teach, the better you can sell. So let's get into it, guys. Let's get down to business. Today's episode of the $100 MBA Show is sponsored by Constant Contact. Did you know that email marketing is incredibly effective? In fact, 91% of US adults like to receive promotional emails from companies they do business with, and 66% of them have made a purchase as a result of an email marketing message. So it's time for you to become an email marketing ninja, and Constant Contact can help you out. They're easy to use and their customer service is incredible. If you'd like to know how to build long-lasting relationships with your customers using email marketing and social media, visit ConstantContact.com/MBA today to download their free guide. It's completely free. Just go to ConstantContact.com/MBA. As many of you know, all of my adult life, I've been teaching. That was my profession before I became a full-time entrepreneur. I was a teacher at the high school and university level. So teaching is something that I am in love with. It's something I've been doing all my life. It's something that I'm very versed in. It's the reason why the format of the $100 MBA Show is lesson-based, because that's my strength. So I want to pass on to you the 4 things I believe makes a great teacher and makes a great lesson when you're teaching something, whether it's a tutorial for your product like a demo or you're selling through teaching. So I want to jump right into it. There are 4 very basic things, but if you cover these 4, you're going to get a win. You're going to make sure that people see you as an expert because you've delivered. That brings me to number 1. You have to have a clear outcome. What is the purpose of your lesson? What's the purpose of you teaching? Whatever that sales copy is or that blog post is, why are you writing it? Why are you putting that together? What is your desired outcome from that article, from that video, from that podcast episode? And I'm not talking about my desired outcome is for people to read the blog post. No, what do you want to have produced at the other end? Meaning that when somebody reads this, what do they get out of it? What do they learn? What do they know how to do? Have you changed their mind in any way? What's the outcome? And it has to be crystal clear. So for example, my outcome for today's podcast episode is to make sure you know the 4 major tips, the 4 things I think will make you a better teacher. I want you to understand these 4 things, and I want you to understand them so well that you know how to use them. You put them into place, and you see that you can become a better teacher with some simple guidelines. Now, that's a long version of my clear outcome, but the short version is I want to make you a better teacher. That's basically it. That's my clear outcome. I want to make that listener, the listener of this show, a better teacher. So make sure you have a clear outcome. Even if you have to write it down, do it. You have to know what the goalpost is. You got to know what you're trying to score. Because at the end of the day, you're going to have something in front of you, whether that's a blog post, a sales page, because you got to scrape away everything else that's not the outcome, that's not driven to the outcome, that doesn't serve the outcome. Everything else is just fluff. All right, so number 1 is having a clear outcome. Number 2, keep it interactive. Now, you want to do this to your best of your ability. Now, I'm on a podcast, so the interactivity is kind of limited, but I can ask you to give me your comments in an iTunes rating and review. I can ask you to email me. I can ask you to send me a tweet. I try to keep it interactive as possible. Why do we keep it interactive? Because it reinforces learning. Now, the best example I could think of when it comes to your business and it comes to teaching in the way of selling is a webinar. Webinars are great because they're interactive. I can ask a question to the audience and they can give me an answer immediately in the chat. So if you're on a webinar and you're teaching, make sure you're keeping it interactive. It's not a monologue. It's not a speech you're giving here. It's a workshop. So make sure you take some breaks every 5 or 10 minutes and ask the audience some questions. Elicit answers from them. Don't just give it to them. By keeping it interactive, you keep people awake. You keep people learning. And what you want to do ideally is break up what you're teaching into smaller bites. Why? Because you want them to comprehend it, fully grasp it, and ideally reproduce it. Just kind of like your school teacher used to teach you how to do long division. This is step 1 in long division. You do it on your paper, and then you'd move on to step 2 once you've done step 1. So keep this in mind when you're on a medium that is interactive. All right, have a clear outcome and also keep it interactive. That's 1 and 2. Number 3, something that's completely overlooked a lot of the times. Have fun. You gotta have fun when you're teaching. Why? Because fun is contagious. If you're having a great time, if you're enjoying yourself, your students, the people that you're teaching, will feel the same way. But if you're dragging your feet, if you're bored out of your mind, they'll be bored. If you're being stiff, try to loosen up. It's okay to make a few jokes. It's okay for you to have fun with it. Tell some stories, make some references, whatever. The point here is that you want to have fun with this actual medium of teaching. And that includes writing a sales letter or an email or a blog post, especially on video, podcasting, things like that. Have fun with it. I mean, imagine I started every $100 MBA show with, hey guys, today is the $100 MBA show. And I think I'm going to teach you something. That would be so boring. That would not be a podcast I would want to listen to. People want to feel good. They want to associate good feelings with you. So make sure you're having fun when you're teaching. Sometimes you have to remind yourself, put a Post-it note on your monitor and say, have fun. Put a smiley face on there. Sometimes Nicole surprises me with that and puts that Post-it note on my desk. So keep that in mind. And the funny thing is that on video, on audio, even in writing, if you're smiling, it kind of shines through. Like right now, I'm smiling and you can hear it in my voice. It's pretty incredible. And that's a great vibe to have when you're communicating to your audience. So number 1, clear outcome. Number 2, keep it interactive. Number 3, have fun. And number 4, ensure learning when possible. It's not just enough for you to teach. You have to ensure that they actually got it. You see, people get things at different speeds. So you can't just ensure that everybody's on the same wavelength. Sometimes if you're on video or on a blog post where the medium is not that interactive, where you can't ask them to reproduce something, it's hard to ensure or to know for sure that they learned something, that your outcome was met. But one way to do this when you're in that kind of situation is to recap, is to summarize what you just taught. And you see me summarizing as I'm going on in today's lesson. I review, this was number 1, this is number 2, this is number 3. I tell you in the beginning, there are 4. So when you get to number 4, you know that these are the 4. And the reason why this is important is because a lot of people think that it's all about comprehension, that as long as they get it, as long as they hear the words I'm saying and it makes sense, that's enough. Unfortunately, our brains don't work that way. Real learning takes place when there's comprehension and retention. So that's what I mean by ensuring learning is taking place. Now, a lot of people are uncomfortable with this because they think they're repeating themselves. But really what you're trying to do here is you want to make sure that whatever you teach, it's remembered. And as long as you spread out the recapping, it will be acceptable. Because after all, knowing something or understanding something is worthless if you can't remember it. I can know something in the moment, but I really need to remember it when I need to use it. So hopefully you'll be able to remember these 4 things: clear outcomes, keeping it interactive, having fun, and ensuring learning is taking place by recapping when it's time for you to teach your next thing. Guys, I got more on today's topic, but before that, I got to give love to today's sponsor, Earth Class Mail. Earth Class Mail is one of the most innovative technologies I've seen. No more physical mail. What Earth Class Mail does is that it gives you a business address, and you send all your business mail to that address. Well, in fact, what happens is that that becomes your new address for your business. And what Earth Class Mail does is that it scans all your mail, puts it up in the cloud, and you can review it online from anywhere. But it doesn't stop there. You can pay your bills. You can take care of invoices, all without touching one piece of paper. I love this idea. You get a professional business address, and they sort your mail for you. And your mail is always available at any time in the cloud. To try Earth Class Mail for free for 1 month, just go to earthclassmail.com/MBA month and use code MBA month. Got nothing to lose, so just try it for free. earthclassmail.com/MBA month. I want to wrap up by saying that if teaching for some reason doesn't come natural to you, you don't feel comfortable, addressing an audience, you might get nervous, you might feel self-conscious. I want to say that's okay. And it's very, very common, actually. And in fact, when I first started teaching, I was really nervous. I was asking myself questions like, how am I going to get 30 bodies in the room to do what I say? Who am I to tell them what to do? But then early on, I really realized something. I realized that these are not just these strangers. These are people that really want to hear what I have to say. I can help them. I can add value to their life. And I started seeing myself as a good friend giving good advice, instead of seeing myself as some kind of authoritative teacher. One of my buddies, Donald Kelly, who runs a really cool podcast called The Sales Evangelist, check it out. He once told me something that was really profound, and he was talking about sales, but it's applicable to teaching as well. He said, if I have something that can help somebody out, it's my obligation to tell them about it. In other words, to teach it or to sell it to them. If somebody needs what you got, don't be afraid to share it. And that's really what teaching is. Guys, that wraps up today's lesson. Thank you so much for listening to the $100 MBA Show. Guys, I want to make sure that you hit the subscribe button if you have not yet. By hitting subscribe on iTunes, Stitcher, Overcast, whatever app you're using, you get all our episodes automatically, completely for free as always, but it makes sure that you get everything queued up and ready to go. It saves you time, and you're always in the know. On top of that, by subscribing, you have access to our archives. Only when you hit subscribe do you have access to all our backlog of episodes. And well past 530 episodes now, so you want to make sure that you have access to the earlier ones to help you along the way. So hit subscribe and you'll see a new episode show up on your device automatically. Guys, that's the end of today's episode, but before I go, I want to leave you with this. In a lot of ways, I'm grateful that I was a teacher before I was an entrepreneur, because I really believe that teaching is the mother of all skills. Because at the end of the day, if you can communicate your ideas clearly to somebody, and those ideas or those products or those services are of value, you can't go wrong. But unfortunately, there's a lot of entrepreneurs out there that have great products or services, but they can't communicate it clearly. And therefore, they don't really reach anybody. And this is where good teaching habits come into play. I hope you can take what I taught today into your business and into your life. I'll see you guys tomorrow on tomorrow's episode. I'll see you then. Take care.